privileged to have Aman Ashraff in our series, Let Us Be Honest. And I'm very thankful because he gave his consent to be part of this interview series. Just for the benefit of the listeners or viewers, I just want to give a brief introduction who Aman Ashraff is. He's a person who hails from the advertising and branding industry. I believe Aman has worked with a number of multinational and local advertising agencies. But now he has his own operation. He has his own company. He has set up his company. He's working with several clients. And I thought it would be interesting to feature a young person who's been in the communication industry to speak about, speak about this Muslim issue. I don't want to say Muslim issue, but the issue that people bring about, saying Muslims in their community, there are a lot of extremists and people with extreme views. And then there are allegations about Muslims not buying products from Sinhalese shops. These are common views that people have. Definitely not the view of Marv Institute or my personal view. But before I put Aman on the spot, I just like to ask him, because Aman, I saw on your LinkedIn page very interesting videos that you have done, documentaries that you have done. So I like to start off this interview by asking, okay, what are these videos? What prompted you to do it? What was the motivation behind it? Can you tell us a little bit about those videos that you produced? Because I'm really interested to know.
Thanks, Samar. First of all, I think I should extend my thanks to you and to Marga Institute for inviting me onto your program. I believe you're referring to the videos that are on my YouTube page, the harmony related videos. It was quite straightforward. I felt that from a core perspective, I was raised to believe that the Sri Lankan identity, which many of us profess to be a part of, gives due respect and cherishes in equal value the religious and ethnic cultural beliefs of every individual in this country, irrespective of which racial denomination they emerge from. That being said, I've also noticed a steady decline in the preservation of these values. It seems to be more of a very less tolerant world that we are a part of today in this day and age. And the lesser the tolerance, the more misinterpretation, the more misunderstandings tend to emerge amongst one another. And I don't think, especially I know you also have an extensive background in the communication industry. I don't believe we have within ourselves the ability to sort of educate individuals in long spells, as it were, to kind of sit people down and put them through hours and hours of, tutorials or what have you. So what I thought was, why not we just give them a reminder of why it is that we call ourselves Sri Lankans? What is this great cultural melting pot that we speak of with such great pride? What does that pot stand for? What does it symbolize? It's not just the Peraharas, it's not just the many tourist spots in this country. It's also the people themselves and what these people represent, right? So I got together with some very close friends of mine, many of whom I have known for decades. And these are all individuals from different walks of life, from different racial and religious denominations. We've known each other and we've never looked at each other or identified ourselves with each other by our ethnic tags or, religious tags. We call each other Machan. We, refer to each other in the most cordial and friendliest of terms, because we understand each other's religious background. We understand and respect their cultural backgrounds. We recognize why or rather why each other does certain things in their lives and in their communities. And these are not things that were sort of ingrained in us whilst we were at school, nor were they sort of taught to us by a book or whatever. I mean, I went to a mixed school. I attended a mixed school. My classmates were all, boys and girls from different backgrounds. We merely conversed with each other. It could be during interval, or it could be when you're seated next to someone who is of a different background. We merely conversed with each other. Somebody would ask me, Machan, why do you guys fast for 30 days? And I'd give him an answer. At the same time, I'd ask him, Machan, why don't you eat beef? Right? It's very, very straightforward human dialogue, which I find is very lacking today. I mean, I suppose maybe it's to do with this new digital world that we're living in, where people don't really have the time to sort of engage in a value-based conversation, as it were. We're more sort of ingrained with our devices, addicted to our digital devices. So I thought, okay, why don't we create a series of videos where we highlight what's common between all of us. I mean, there's a great list of differences people can bring together and say, look, you're different in this way, she's different in that way. But if you really think about it, there are much more common denominators between us all as Sri Lankans. And it is those common denominators that give us strength and sort of uphold that Sri Lankan identity, as it were. So that is what I wanted to highlight, and that is what those of us who worked with me on that, on those productions, felt was important to remind ourselves of, that we belong to one nation, we belong to one identity, and we should not let that identity be threatened or undermined in any way whatsoever.